How's it going? Wooden Spoon Supercoach here. We got a huge teams list Tuesday this week. Good to see Fletcher Sharp pictured there. I was a bit worried he wasn't going to be named after his leg scare last week. Anyway, let's get right into it. The ins and outs are going to be very helpful this week. So starting with the Bulldogs, Saluka Fafita, Kiraz, Kurt Mann, Max King, and Stephen Crichton all out. Saluka Fafita and Kiraz being due to injury, and the other three to Origin. So we see Blake Wilson come in for Kiraz. Josh Curran is back from suspension, so he slots in. Obviously, Blake Taff in for Critter, and Luke Smith coming into the interchange. So as far as Kiraz goes, it looks like he has I think it was a calf issue, 3 to 4 weeks. So that really sucks as everyone was just starting to get him in. And you could hold, but I feel like your availability of players right now is at its most important. So if it was me, I'd be selling, but I don't have to make that decision, fortunately. For the Dolphins, Tom Gilbert out to injury, Tabuai Fido out to Origin. So Jake Avarillo fills in at fullback, and it looks like Oren Keeley has come in for Tom Gilbert. Not a whole lot going on for the Dolphins. Eels Manly. For the Eels, Mitch Moses and Zach Lomax out, which sees Sean Russell and Jordan Samrani come into the outside backs. Dean Hawkins takes over Moses. They've learnt their lesson and they're not putting Dylan Brown at 7 because that is a terrible decision. And that's it for the Eels. Manly, obviously Turbo didn't get picked because he's not fit and everyone can see it. Jake Arthur comes in for Cherry Evans. Jake Arthur he's impressed me when he's played. He's not an absolute star half, but he'll do a job. He's got a lot of ticker. And Jakey getting knocked out sees Matthew Lodge come onto the bench, who has returned from injury, so not a whole lot going on at Manly, which is a nice change during Origin. Obviously, Olakuatu is 20th man, so he has been named to play. It's only the 18th man and below that actually can't play for their own club. Panthers Knights out at Bathurst. This is a big one. I don't know how accurate I'm going to be with who the replacements are, but obviously Cleary, Martin, Isaiah Yeo, Dylan Edwards, and Brian To'o all out for Origin. Isaiah Papali'i is one I didn't expect to see on the outs, and Luke Garner as well. Nothing said here about Isaiah Papali'i. I don't know if there was some obvious headline I've missed, but either way, Schneider comes in for Cleary. Alamotti shifts out to the wing, and Casey McLean and Jenkins come in. Dane Laurie takes over at fullback. For whatever reason, the Panthers have named a missing number 12, or 12 here. I'm not sure what's going on there. In terms of Supercoach relevance, I don't think any of these guys are really worth bringing in. I was looking at Lindsay Smith. He'd just be a nice, consistent number for some of those bye weeks, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet. For the Knights, Fletcher Sharp's playing fullback. I called that at the start of the year. Not that it was a difficult thing to predict, but that's very interesting for all the Sharp owners. And I've only just realised that the Knights are doing their little halves shuffle up again like they love to do. Hopefully that doesn't derail them and Fletcher Sharp can actually get some good Supercoach points. And Jacob Saifidi's also out for 3 to 4 weeks. Right as I bring him in, so he's a sell as well. And Dylan Lucas has been named, so that's a huge one. That would have really fucked me over if I lost Dylan Lucas and Saifidi in the same week. So good news for Lucas owners, which is a lot of people. And Leo Thompson's back from a head knock to take over Saifidi. Cool, moving on to Roosters Sharks. Now, for the Roosters, we've got Crichton, Watson, Lindsay Collins, Rob Toyer and Spencer Leniu all out for Origin. Nafahu Wyatt has actually picked up an injury last week, right as everyone needed him. He is apparently out for 3-ish weeks, so he'll still be handy for the back end of the period, but this also means that there is a lot of minutes opening up in the forward pack, so there could definitely be some options in there. Dominic Young coming in for Toyer. So Savala, he's a great option, playing halfback. He hasn't got me any decent scores yet, but at least he's getting me scores, and he covers a lot. And he was a nice downgrade. This Fiketti guy, I was looking at bringing him in, and it looked like he needed an injury to get some decent minutes. And now that that's happened, I think he could be quite a decent option with Naf White going down. Maybe you could look at Sua Wong, but he is probably quite expensive now. And even Zach Docker-Clay could be an option. I'm not sure at the prices of them, but if you're looking for a downgrade and if you need to get rid of Naf White, I can't talk you out of going Savala, Docker-Clay, or Fiketti, because with these injuries and the Origin outs, I think they're nice and safe options. For the Sharks, Stone Street's the only one out with his ankle, so if anyone's still holding on to Hiroti, that's good for you. And he's already risen up in money a little bit, so I can't imagine people would be looking to bring him in, but if you've still got him, then that is great. Back onto the Roosters, I'm not going to go over these guys too much. These are like the benchies to the benchies outside of Butcher and Steep. But Fiketti and Docker Clay and those guys are like the next up sort of reserves. But since there's just so many outs, I don't think this Loelu or Lasalu have too much relevance. But I could be wrong. Waz Raiders. This one should be pretty easy. Oh, Fisher Harris is out again. God, you only just got him back. And Barnett to Origin, obviously. And Bunty Afoa and Jackson Ford have slotted in for those two. Only out for the Raiders is obviously Hudson Young. So Simi Sasangi has come in for him. Nice and easy one there. And that's it. Quick teams lists. So a few ins and outs, it's manageable. I've had to redo all my planning again, but I've got it figured out. As you can see, I've only used two of the three trades going into round 12. Drinky for Toya and Katoa for Nicholson in round 13 gets me set for round 13, 14, and 15. Round 14, AFB for Saifidi gives me a couple of extra numbers. And then Talakai for Billy Smith gets me covered for the rest of the period. Now, I put Talakai there thinking he'd come into the centres because of this Stone Street injury, so maybe I'll have to be looking at Hiroti there instead, which could be a little bit more expensive, but if it's what I've got to do, it's what I've got to do. Moving over to the group league, we had some wins this week. I haven't had time to update all the information in here yet, so this is all the numbers as of last week. But as for hits, we had someone back to the Warriors and the Raiders, so I put a $2.50 stake on them individually and then multied. So that's about $15 added to the pool there. And we also had a Tamale Anytime. So about $20 added this week. I'll make sure I update the leaderboard and everything next week. But we're looking at about $340 in the pool this week. So good shit, guys. You're hitting bets consistently every week. And if you keep going like that, we should get to that $1,000 total prize for the winners of the group league at the end of the year. Sweet, that's it. Hopefully the injury carnage from last week hasn't fucked you around too much like it did me. It took me about 2 or 3 hours of rejigging all my plans and stuff to get it working again. But we got there. Don't forget, you've got 3 trades this week without a boost, and you only need to field a starting 13. But if you can get any extra numbers, that'll certainly help you. Sweet, good luck with the first buy round, guys. And I'll see you for the round reaction. Uru.